Have you ever just stopped and felt like there's a disconnect between how hard you work every day and the amount of peace you actually feel in your heart? Well, today we're going to dive into that exact feeling, all through a really powerful story about where our money comes from and where our tranquility goes.
You know that feeling, right? You're trying your best, you're making your prayers, but it just feels like your words are hitting a ceiling. You're asking for peace, but all you get back is silence. It's a tough place to be.
And this feeling, it spills over into our daily lives. We're out there grinding, working so hard to build a good life, but that deep, settled feeling of contentment just never seems to arrive. It's this exhausting cycle, and it's right at the heart of the story we're getting into.
To really get what's going on here, we're going to follow the journey of a young man. His name is Ahmad, and his experience pretty much perfectly captures this whole dilemma. So, let's meet Ahmad. He's probably a lot like many of us, super ambitious, hardworking, really dedicated to his career.
And Ahmad, he worked relentlessly. He was good at his job, and he was making good money, but something was just off. The wealth never seemed to stick around. It was missing that special ingredient, what's known in Islamic tradition as Barakah. You know, that divine blessing that makes things feel whole and valuable. It was kind of like he was trying to fill a bucket that had a hole in the bottom.
And this wasn't just a vague feeling. You could see it in his life. Money would come in, and poof, it was gone. It would just pour right back out on some unexpected illness, a sudden financial loss, or the car breaking down again. It was just this constant drain that left him feeling anxious, not peaceful. So, completely distressed and confused, Ahmad finally hits his breaking point. He decides he needs some guidance, so he goes to see a wise, pious scholar. And let me tell you, this one conversation, it's about to change everything for him. He just pours his heart out. He asks the one question that so many of us have probably asked ourselves. Look, I am trying so hard to do the right thing, to earn in a permissible, a halal way. So why is my life filled with all this chaos instead of calm? You can just feel the desperation in that question, can't you? Now, the scholar's response here is just fascinating. He doesn't give him a lecture or a quick fix. He just smiles. And he asks one simple but incredibly deep question that gets to the absolute root of the entire problem. And here it is, the profound piece of wisdom the scholar shared. He explained that God is pure and only accepts what is pure. And this idea, it doesn't just apply to our prayers or our intentions. It applies to our wealth. If the very source of our income is tainted, how can we expect it to bring us pure things like peace and blessings? It's a game changer. But the scholar didn't just stop there with the theory. He gave Ahmad something practical, a framework, 3 really clear signs to help him and honestly to help all of us figure out if our earnings are truly pure. This is such a useful checklist. First is what you're doing explicitly forbidden. We're talking about things like earning from interest, cheating people, any kind of injustice. Second, does your work hurt other people? If your success comes at the cost of someone else's suffering or loss, that's a huge red flag. And third, and this one is so personal, how does it make your heart feel? If your job leaves you feeling restless, anxious, and you can't even focus when you try to pray, that little voice inside is telling you something is seriously wrong. So with this newfound clarity, Ahmad had a really difficult choice to make. But he took the scholar's advice to heart, and it led to this radical, life-altering change. I mean, think about that. This was a massive step. He walked away from a comfortable salary, from the security that job seemed to promise. He literally chose his principles over his paycheck, just trusting that this incredibly hard decision was the right one for his soul. And listen, it wasn't some magic fix. Things were tough for a while, for sure. He really struggled, but he kept going. And eventually, he managed to start his own small, honest business, one that was completely aligned with his values. And this, right here, is the beautiful payoff. His income was smaller, yeah. His bank account wasn't as full. But his heart was overflowing. For the very first time in his life, he felt that deep, profound peace and contentment that he had been so desperately searching for. His life finally had that barakah, that blessing. So when you boil it all down, what's the big lesson from Ahmad's entire journey? Well, you can pretty much distill it into a simple but incredibly powerful equation for a peaceful life. And here it is. It's so clear when you see it laid out like this, isn't it? A smaller income that's earned the right way, the halal way, leads to peace and real blessings. But on the flip side, a bigger income that's earned through forbidden or haram means, well, it ultimately leads to nothing but stress, anxiety, and a life that feels empty.
And this all comes back to a core principle of faith. The belief is that our provision, our sustenance in this life, it's already guaranteed. Our job, our test, is simply to choose the right path to get it. We're meant to focus on the purity of our effort, not just obsess over the bottom line. So we'll leave you with this one last question to think about. As we're all out there, chasing success and trying to build a better life, it is so important to just pause and ask ourselves, what is the true price of my inner peace? Because Ahmad's story suggests it's a currency that is far, far more valuable than money.